Good day everyone, I am Jericho Galarita from BA Ed first year. Today, I will be discussing my topic which is entitled Learner-Centered Teaching, and we will focusing in consistent application, student-specific, and time for resolution. But first, I will discuss what is learner-centered teaching. Learner-centered teaching is an approach to teaching that focuses on the learners and their development rather than on the transmissions of content. It addresses the balance of power in teaching and learning, moves towards learners actively constructing their own knowledge, and put the responsibility for learning on the learners. Now, let's talk about consistent application in learner-centered teaching. Consistent application is consistency is a key. Consistent applications help teachers and learners feel more organized and less stressed. In centered learning teaching, consistent application help the learners feel more relaxed and comfortable in classrooms or in areas where they can learn, which increases participation and engagement. The more consistent a teacher is, the more trust and respect students and their parents have for that teachers. Students are able to participate in learning more effectively when they have a clear understanding of classroom's procedures and their importance. If students can name the expectations and receive consistent responses to their behaviors, they are in a better control of their actions. Let's talk about student-specific and learning-centered teaching. So there are four types of stages of development. Learning is student-specific. These are the primary years around 5 to 7 years, the middle years around 8 to 10 years old, the pre-teens around 11 to 13 years old, and lastly the early teens from 14 up. Let's talk about the primary years around 5 to 7 years. These are highly receptive, learn largely by observing, listening, and doing. Knowing the stage of development and the different ways by which students learn will be helpful. The middle years around 8 to 10 years, students from this category, these are friendship begins to matter more, self-concept take enhanced shape, can to copy and make friends with others, eager to answer questions, personal interests and hobbies develop, expect appreciations of their ideas. So what does it mean for learner-centered teaching? For example, the eager to answer the questions. So teachers do have to think about giving them more time to answer, reply, or participate in activities. Since friendship begins to matter more, they might enjoy a lot of group activities and also their personal interests and hobbies develop during this period. So teaching is one to take advantages and start forming some kinds of interest group or hobbies club that will attract the students' attentions. The pre-teen years around 11 to 13 years old. For them, they are personal acceptance become important, growing influence of peer groups, cliques and gangs, begin to identify with the imitate idols, new discoveries of personal ability, tendency to show off and wish to impress, seek independence, and test out new levels, boundaries, and behaviors. Example with regard to imitates idols. So at this stage, they love to identify themselves with some names, idols, icons. So teachers me wants to draw the attentions of the students to some idols, maybe musical figures or also football players. Starts relating their teaching and assignment. We should allow students to go outside and explore things and discover more things for them to have a better learning and knowledge they get in exploring outside, not just inside the school. The early, the early teenage years at age 14 to 16 or 14 up, at this point they are heightened self-consciousness, personal image and grooming begins to matter, in-betweenness or childhood to adulthood, heightened sexual awareness, excitement over little truth, learning assumes new dimensions, choices, actions, and relationship becomes more conflicted, and in this stage, they start questionings of and resistance to authority. So what does this mean to teaching? So students to this category, teachers may think about giving them a lot of independence and trusting them in their work, and let them begin to explore new ideas that will make them to adapt. And all these things that we talk about, especially the stages of development, is one expect in the learner's processes. And now, I will be discuss what is time for resolution and learner-centered teaching. Resolution is a plan for something to be done or a decision to do something or to behave in a certain manner. So time for resolution, it is very important in learner-centered teaching because because the given time for resolution and learner-centered teaching helps the learners to be more responsive and more effective at resolving issues as they take some controls of learning processes. The measured time given for resolution has great impact for an effective learning to happen. So for example, students given a task to conduct research about some environmental issue. So now, the student should be given enough time or enough for resolution in order to get more accurate result. Another example, the instructor given a time for resolution to answer some of the difficult activities. So now, the instructors or teachers will give enough time to learners to answer the assigned activities given to learners. So the learners will now think enough time to answer the difficult activities. So I think that's all, and I want to say thank you so much for your listening. May God bless us all. Thank you.